So first off, let's jump into their enclosure and their environment that they need. The recommendations I see most is a minimum of an 18 by 18 by 36 enclosure, that being the tall enclosures for an adult Abronia. I personally recommend a 2 by 2 by 4 or 2 feet by 2 feet by 4 feet enclosure for adult Abronias. The reason why I do this is I think more room is better for these guys. You know, it gives them ample room to move around their enclosures and be able to explore, and they will use that space. So for me, I always recommend more than the recommendation usually. An 18 by 18 by 36 is plenty for these guys, especially some of the individuals who are less active than others. But if you have the availability and space, I highly recommend going for that 2 by 2 by 4 enclosure. Another example of this would be a 2 foot by 18 by 36-inch enclosure, where it's similar to that 18 by 18 by 36, but it gives them a little bit more width. This way you can still fit on a baker's rack if you're using that sort of setup, and an 18 by 18 by 36 will also fit on a baker's rack if you're trying to do that kind of setup, which is something I might look into doing with these guys in the future, and having a modified setup of like an 18 by 36 by 24, or some, you get what I mean by that. The style of enclosure I use is PVC. However, there's a couple other styles of enclosures you can go with. I wouldn't recommend anything glass or wood, as that's going to hold too much humidity in usually and not provide enough airflow. These guys are from the cloud forest, meaning they need ample airflow in their enclosures. So going with something like a PVC enclosure that's modified to have fans and provide that airflow, or doing some sort of screen enclosures like you see with chameleons, allows for that airflow to come through their enclosures at a much better rate.